Golden Black Live. I am not by myself because Rick the Rocket's on the other end. What a thrill for me is every time I get a chance to do this. It's the best 20 minutes of the year for us. And Rick, are you there?
Yeah, Alan, how you doing?
I'm doing well, and I'm going to take care of a little bit of business, and then we'll get to talking some basketball. I want to thank our sponsors, Triple X, on the hill but on the level, the Purdue tradition since 1929. And, of course, John Basham, the good folks at Basham Reynolds. State Farm agent Trent Johnson at trentismyagent.com. Trent's been answering all kinds of officiating questions for us of late. And Hilton Garden Inn, when tomorrow's a big day, stay at HGI tonight. Our show today, Rick Mount will be on segment 1. Tom Dienhart will join us. Segment 2, we'll talk about Purdue-Michigan State games over the years, starting with the Arnett Hallman game winner 40 years ago when the Boilermakers, when he hit that game-winning shot. I don't think Rick taught Arnett that jumper. In fact, I'm sure Rick didn't, but he did make it on his only shot of the day, that great game 40 years ago. And then, of course, segment 3, Brian Newbert will be back from availability today to talk about Purdue-Michigan State this Sunday, 1 o'clock, Mackey Arena. And Rick, it's never easy when I assume you got to watch most of the Ohio State game. The Boilermakers got off to a very slow start. Looked like deer in headlights and then gathered themselves. What do you make of this team so far? I mean, they're obviously making some strides, but it's never a dull moment from time to time.
No, it seems like they're in spurts, but it looks like that some of the younger players are coming along, and they're getting better. Just get Klein to be more consistent with his shot to help out Edwards. And when he's got it going with Edwards scoring, they're pretty good. They're really pretty good. So with these younger guys coming forward by tournament time, they might be right there.
Well, it's interesting because we talked about, and of course, Carson Edwards is being put in some pretty exclusive company with Glenn Robinson and yourself as being that true scorer mentality. And yet, this is a guy, when you watch Carson play and Carson shoot his jump shot, what do you see from a true technical standpoint? I mean, he can score it about as good as anybody. He looks good, at least from my somewhat untrained eye. What do you see?
Yeah, he's got a nice jump shot. Mechanically is good. He can shoot it from any place. He's looking more to shoot threes and drive. And I think what Michigan State did to him over there, they played up on him out high above the 3-point line. And he was trying to drive, and they had a big guy waiting for him. I think he can shoot that mid-range jump shot. No, not too many shoot mid-range jump shots anymore. But they take that 2 or 3 bounce into that mid-range and pull up for those shots because you get a bigger. The bigger guard, as quick as he is, sometimes shooting those stands out on that 3-point line, if they're really right up against you, he's not, like 6'5" like I was. Sometimes it's tough to get him off.
Yeah, he is certainly a athletic as he makes his way to the basket. Of course, we're on with Rick Mount. Boilermaker basketball legend, the greatest, in my view, the greatest shooter of all time in college basketball, and pretty much in any basketball. But Rick, you look at the team too, and you talk about balance, and you talk about guys that get better. Travion Williams, the inside guy, is really 6'9" freshman. Got really good hands in there and does some things well. He needs to learn to shoot some free throws, though he did make some against Ohio State, but. What have you seen, and how does that change the dynamic when you have a little bit more of an inside-outside presence?
Well, Harms wasn't giving us that a lot early, and Williams came in there, and he handles what I think. I see it when teams got 6'9", 6'10", 6'11", quick jumpers. He handles the quick jumpers a little bit better. He can get his body on them a little quicker, and he can also play outside if they go out. Now, Harms has had some good games, but he's been playing against some slow jumpers, and he does better. He doesn't play well against quick jumpers. So him coming off the bench and Williams is starting. You know, he came out and he had 3 or 4 games double, and that really gives Purdue a little bit better chance, I think, than starting Harms and playing a lot of minutes.
And I don't know how much you've had a chance to watch. I always ask you for your opinion on guys shot. Stefanovic is a number 55, a freshman, redshirt freshman, did set out a year. Can shoot it a little flat from my view, but how do you? And I don't know how much. I don't want to put you on the spot here. So I don't know how much you've seen him play, but he is. He gets streaky and can make some shots. But if you were looking at his, how do you view how he shoots it?
Catch and shooter. Yeah, he's a little flat. He doesn't lift and then follow through as like he should. He takes that hand first a little bit. Good maker, what I call good maker. I don't know about his mechanics. I'd like to see him lift a little bit better and follow through. And doesn't shoot off the dribble much. There's only one guy out there who shoots off the dribble, is Edwards. He can, get his shot anytime he wants. And so, he's played well for freshman, and give him the paint some good minutes when he puts him in there. So, he's doing well. And then the 6'9" kid was it Walker? Is it Walker?
No, Aaron Wheeler.
Wheeler. Yeah, Wheeler. I like him. He's starting to come. I like, his shots is not bad. He just needs to make a few more and get some confidence. But I see his confidence getting better, and I like him at that wing.
Yeah, he's got one thing I noticed in that he's got good art on his shot. He seems to, especially when he gets dialed in, he'll make. Of course, he hit a huge shot. Really hit a big shot against Ohio State because Purdue could not score, and I think he had the first basket in that game. But seems to be confident doing it. Tell me, a question I don't know that I've ever asked you. All the times we've talked about your view of how has the 3-point line, the Steph Curry effect of guys just shooting it from all over the place. It's changed the game. Has it made the game not as good from your perspective? I mean, how do you look at that? Just all the emphasis on the 3-point line. It's obviously it pays off to do it, but it changes the game certainly.
Oh yeah, it took away the mid-range jump shot. I don't see too much mid-range stuff now, like back when we played. But we didn't have 3-point line. But and plus. A lot of it is point guard now, dancing and penetrating and kicking, and they don't guard the 3-point line. I don't think that well. And when they play Edwards, Michigan State's the only one that really guarded him above the 3-point line. The rest of them that they kind of go behind screens and get a little lazy, and boy, you can't do that on Edwards. And but I think it's been I don't think it's helped the game. It's brought more scoring, but it's taken away because all you're getting now is 3-point shots and drives.
Yeah. And we always have had that discussion about, and not one that you necessarily mentioned, but your 61-point game against Iowa probably would have been about 75-ish. Had the 3-point line been in, it would have been a very different game from a scoring standpoint when you played. You look back and you look at the Big Ten right now, and obviously Purdue is playing as well as anybody. Michigan State's been really good. Michigan's very well coached, has a lot of balance. I mean, what do you see what do you see in terms of the strength of the league and the games? I know you're watching your friend Ed Schilling, who's an assistant coach at Indiana, and a Lebanon guy with the Hoosiers as well. I'll ask you kind of from a broad stroke standpoint, what do you see in the Big Ten? Is it truly Michigan State and Michigan? And then also, what's wrong with Indiana? Can they get it back from your perspective?
Well, I see about eight teams. They're going to probably 8 or 9 teams that'll make it. If I was a betting guy, I would say Michigan State. Michigan's got the best chance to go to the Final Four if they got lucky. Purdue's coming on. I'd probably change my mind at the end of the season, see how it goes. But those are the 2 teams that would have a chance to go to the Final Four, but you never know. Purdue could come on, they could get a good draw, different teams. But I'm looking at a lot of those teams, like Wisconsin, some of those Iowa, Ohio State. They're going to get in, but I don't know if they got enough to really go deep in the tournament. Maryland might, because they got those 2 big guys. They're quick jumpers, which Purdue had trouble with when they played them at Mackey. So the Big Ten's tough, and on the road, every team, those 8 or 9 teams can beat you. So Purdue's just got to keep playing and working hard and getting, people say, well, they don't have any, you average 35 points a game your senior year, but you got to remember we averaged 89, but Weatherford averaged 20. We had 4 or 5 guys in double figures every night, not 20s, but, Weatherford, and here come Faber and Ford jumping in there with 10 and 15. So that's what, if Klein can keep those shoulders straight up and down when he releases, we've talked about this, not leaning back, he's had some pretty good shooting nights. So this is what he's got to be working on in practice, because he needs to score, 15 or 20 points a night with Edwards scoring 30. And these other guys jumping in there a little bit with 10 and 12. Then I could say Purdue might have a shot at it because of the balance. Everybody said, well, balance. Well, Edwards is selfish. Well, no, he's not. There's going to be the Chiefs and the Braves. We talked about it. And if Edwards gets 30 and Klein jumps in with 20, they're the Chiefs. Then you got a few Braves that's going to get 10 and 12 or 13. That's the kind of balance you want. I mean, because not everybody can score 25 or 30 points a game. When you got a guy like Edwards like that, you're going to utilize him. I guarantee you. Yeah. So I think that's where it's coming. And then you got that Wheeler guy, if he gets more confidence. And then Williams is giving you a ton of good stuff in the middle. So you got another Biggie Jr. in there. But and then with Harms coming off the bench, and he's going to give you some good minutes, not consistent minutes, but I'd like to see him get a few more rebounds. If a guy 7'3" is only averaging 4 rebounds a game, he ought to be able to rebound maybe 10 or 12 rebounds a game. And if this stuff comes, then Purdue could go deep in the tournament, because Edwards is the only guy you got that can go north and south. And if you have to use him at the point or let him bring it up and let him go north and south, let him take it into that mid-range stuff and shoot it, then let him do it. Well, we got to have him. We're wearing him out. Bull crap. How old is that kid? 21?
Yeah.
I could play 40 minutes a game.
Yeah.
I was looking cross-eyed at a King if he was going to take me out a couple minutes to rest me. That's the type of player I was. So those guys can play it. They can play. They're not going to get tired. So it'll be interesting to see. And, Michigan State, I watched them, when was it, last night? They played Iowa.
Yeah, they were down in the second half.
They were down, but Iowa's notorious for that. they might play good for 10 minutes and then play loudly for, 30 minutes? So, so Michigan State will be tough. But Purdue can beat them if they come out. The other night, I can't remember who they were playing. They started out slow, and that daggone crowd kept Purdue in that ball game till they got it going. Who'd they play at home last?
Well, they Indiana, and it was Indiana and Rutgers, which they got off to pretty good start. So they were sluggish against Rutgers, but there is no doubt that that Mackey Arena crowd is just
the best.
Can light them up.
It's the best, and it was Indiana. And
yeah,
Indiana, they played.
Well, they got off to a good start, and then they had a lull. You're right.
Yeah, and talking about Indiana, I think I'm looking at them. I like Morgan. I like Finney, and the kid from New Albany,
Langford, yeah.
Langford, but Langford is deferring too much. He's got to take it over and carry them a little bit. He's an All-American, but I don't think Langford shoots the ball really good from the outside. I don't think he's got that confidence. You watch him play. He's a great driver. And he used to shoot mid-range jump shots. Now he's not shooting many mid-range, but he lays his fingers back on his shooting hand and puts it right on his tip of his fingers, right on his forehead, and takes that hand first. And the ball has got no touch on it out there. So they got to figure out he's got to take it over, not deferring him and Morgan. And I think they'll be okay. But if not, Indiana is going to have a tough time getting in.
Yeah, I think the way the Hoosiers are trending, and of course they've got Michigan. They got a chance this week to have a signature win, obviously with the Wolverines coming into Assembly Hall. But that is certainly that. Rick Mount had celebrated a birthday earlier this month. He's about as fit as anybody can be for a guy at a young age. His son Rich, former Boilermaker, also I think his birthday is today, I believe. Is that correct?
Yeah, he's 49 today.
49. So wait, I always thought you were only 59. So all right, well, that's good.
I look 59, but I'm really 72.
Last question for you, Rick, and we appreciate your time today. Though is looking back. Everybody says that when you say 50 years, it's hard to believe, but that was a special team, and obviously the 1969 Purdue basketball team that went to the national championship game, and the house that Mount built that they say in the pregame warm-ups, pregame video for Purdue is absolutely true. Can you believe it? Why do you look back through the lens of 50 years later? That experience was pretty amazing going to the Final Four.
Oh yeah, we didn't have the coverage like they got now, but being in a Final Four, you don't realize how big a deal. I mean, it was a big deal.
Yeah.
But how really big deal it was till you get out, because you're playing another basketball game. And you want to win, that kind of stuff. You're in a zone, but now you look back and say that was a pretty big deal. So it worked out good. And the fans got somebody was saying in 3 years at Mackey Arena, I played there. We lost. One basketball game in the Big Ten in 3 years.
Yeah.
That was the third, almost at the end of my senior year when Iowa beat us 109, 108. So we only lost one basketball game while I was there, and that's in 3 years at Mackey.
Yeah. Well, that is why that building is the way it is. Today.
That tells a lot on the fans, buddy, because when you walked in there and those fans are right on you and they're just vocal as all get out, that helps. that really helps.
Oh yeah, there's no question about that. And you provided a very magical moment a couple of years ago in your return for the Iowa game. The second half wasn't so good for the Boilermakers, but your appearance was great, and fans. Their admiration, and the ones that know basketball know what you've meant to this program over the years. So that's always a treat to be able to share some time with you. We're going to see you in about a week and a half for lunch. I'm looking forward to that as well. But you stay warm, and we'll see what happens on Sunday afternoon. It's going to be an interesting game.
I'll be watching. People say, "Well, why don't you go back up there? We'll get you a ticket." I said, why, when I can sit in my easy chair and be drinking iced tea and watch the game?
And that's one thing I do know, Rick. You're drinking iced tea. You're not drinking anything else. That's why you live that pure life, which is good. But now you're welcome up there, and Elliot Bloom and others try to get you on road trips, and we try to get you up there. And there'll be a day maybe when you do it again. But we appreciate that. We appreciate the fact that you come on our show at least once or twice a year, and always interesting to hear your viewpoint of what you see on some of Purdue's shooters and Purdue's basketball team. I think it's good for Purdue fans to know how interested you are in the program, and that's a great thing.
Okay, good talking with Alan.
All right, we'll talk to you in a couple of weeks. Thanks again, Rick, and we're going to take a short break, a 2-minute break, bring in Tom Dienhart, who will join us, and we'll talk some Purdue-Michigan State history and some other things on Purdue football, too, with Tom in about 2 minutes on Gold and Black Live.